We split for like 5 months. We didn't know if we were gonna get back together. You can't help it when you meet that person that feels like you've known them forever. Feels good.
Feels like home.
Love is love until the person doing the loving looks like you. Then you want to make essays on why these men are dating you and people who look like you. Never mind the fact that you're ignoring these couples, but they aren't famous enough or something enough to where you keep moving the goalposts. Your subgroup loves focusing on the 1% that triggers you. Why y'all don't like dark-skinned guys? I wish I was light-skinned with green eyes. First, we have to take a step back to understand we're all speculating on why others date who they date. Why do you care who Tyler, the Creator, is dating? Why do you care who Don Lemon is married to? Do you know them personally? Do you know their dating history? Do you know for sure the things that you're saying when you say that they don't date black? There's an obsession of making celebrities and high-profile figures who aren't relatable, aren't your equal, your target to make your point. And I guess you have to reach far to someone high-profile to get your audience to lean in, to get them on board to agree with you. And some would argue and say that it's about representation, but see, that's the thing about representation. You can look at a negative image and you can say, that's not me. That doesn't represent me. We already know how to do that without internalizing it. But yet, when you see someone queer, it has to look exactly like you. And if it doesn't, you're ready to come outside with your signs in the protest. Karamo doesn't look at you and see himself. So I don't know why you look at Karamo and see yourself. Same with Don Lemon, same with Tyler, the Creator, same with Frank Ocean, same with anybody else that y'all want to use to make the point that you don't feel desired. And I go there with it because this triggers you and it stands out to you because in your everyday life, you're not being desired like that. So why is it that this person of this race can come in and take a man that I was never going to be checking for and that wasn't going to be checking for me? So it doesn't matter how far you move the goalposts. It'll keep moving until it reaches you, until you become the target. Now we can step closer and look at the likely reality that I've heard from those who date non-black exclusively. They prefer their reflection, however, they didn't prefer them back. And you only bring up who they're attracted to when the person doesn't look like you. Wait. That's not true because y'all love mess. And if you deem them not attractive enough for the more attractive of the two, then you'll mention it. And don't let one of them have hazel eyes or green eyes. Somebody call ICE. See, there's different layers that come with it. We act like black only comes one way. Like by default, if a person is attracted to black men, that you would be it because we're all the same type of man. We don't all have the same interests. We don't all present the same. We don't all speak the same. There's levels to it. So you look at someone like a Karamo Brown and you automatically assume the person they are, because we also police blackness. Who made you the measuring stick for black? I mean, these guys might look black, but are they black really? Are their views aligned with the rest of us? You use Isaiah Rashad and Andrew Gillum to highlight public figures being exploited, but let's not act like there weren't black men that were trying to expose people being DL or closeted or just simply when things didn't go your way, now you want to expose them. So that goes both ways. Let's not isolate that as to, oh, well, see what happens when you date someone white. Like the Sydney Stars and the DL Whisperers didn't exist. Remember Andrew Caldwell when he tried to call out Portia's ex-husband? Remember when he did that? That's what lets me know that a lot of people who make these essay videos, they are blind to certain things. Hell, even that statement right there was insensitive to the blind community. You can argue any point and find evidence to support what you're saying, but then someone like myself can always hold up a mirror. And as the mirror, maybe I should change my name to the mirror, but as the mirror, I'm asking you, how much attention did you give the Karamos in your life when you saw them on the apps or when you had them in school or whatever? How much attention did you give the Tyler, the Creators? And for some of these people, it could be their preference. It could just simply be, I grew up around a whole bunch of white people. I find white people to be attractive. That's not my story. That could be one of theirs. But from what I found, because I have friends or I have acquaintances that have white partners, and I've asked them in a very neurodivergent way, why you ain't with somebody black? And it would lead us down these long conversations, but it would be, I went where love was accepting of me. I didn't have to fold. I was always trying to make sure that I was not too gay for the black guys. And we've seen this pattern play out publicly. Just for a second, let's pretend that you understand nuance and that you know that the world is not made up of only gay and queer people, and you're able to understand human behavior. So let's look at someone like Akeisha Cole. She came from nothing, she made it, she's got money, status, and access, and she still ends up in the same type of situations with the same type of men. But then you take someone like Amarlo Hampton, who was raised in foster care. She worked her way up and she had access to wealth, and she only dates millionaires. Oh shit, we can look at your leader, Nicki Minaj. She has a type. See, some people need to feel protected financially, and then you have others that need to feel protected physically. They need someone that has a presence that says, don't F with me, don't F with the people I F with. So money is giving her access to be able to reach these rooms and to be able to date outside, but she still has a preference. She still has a type, and her type is a hood dude. She already feels secure financially. Just make me feel protected outside of my wallet. And then you have people that don't put themselves in those type of positions, so they don't need protection physically. They just want to feel secure financially. So it's give me the man who has all the money so that I can take care of X, Y, and Z, or so that A, B, and C is not an issue for me. And I promise you, this is where I bring it back to your queer space for you. So these people have access to more because there are more heterosexual people in the world. Now you shrink that to only being attracted to the same sex or the same gender. You see where it comes back to, right? See, we're going back to this attraction thing. So now if it can't be any race, or it can be any race, but it has to be this one specific gender. And he has to be out. And for some, he needs to be in the same tax bracket. And for others, he just needs to be able to be a Uda. Some lingo is funny to me, sorry. We could also look at Saucy Santana. He's got a type just like Keisha. Guys that aren't deemed corny in the hood. Lil Nas X would never be Santana's type and vice versa, but because they both black and gay, some of y'all would think they should be a couple. Now, just because people like what they like doesn't mean you'll automatically qualify for it. And if you want a certain type, you may have to align with that. You know, people who go into the military understand to be accepted into the military, they have to have certain grooming standards. When I was a flight attendant, I was hell-bent on keeping my beard that was finally growing in. They told me during the final interview that I'd have to shave if I was offered the position after completing training. So if you want a certain type of man, and that man likes a certain type of look, can you understand that if you don't adapt to that look, then you just won't be hired? And some of y'all don't want to hear it, but you understand it everywhere else. So you can be mad at other people or other parts of the community or the alphabets, but you've got to look within and say, am I judging others in the same way that I want to be judged? Am I being as fair to them, or do I have some very rigid ways that I just can't look past? Why are you so triggered by less than 5%? Seriously, think about that for a second, though. You are triggered by a small percentage of the population that's dating white men. But you're ignoring the fact that you can go to any club or bar or wherever and see couples who are identical. You see white men with white men, black men with black men, and you leave that out purposefully because it doesn't help you tell the story and paint the picture that this is a global majority thing when it's so small. It's like that restroom conversation, you know? It doesn't affect the majority. But if I scare you enough, I get it. It's a check, baby. Go get your money. When we talk about other people's preferences and we say that it's rooted in patriarchy and it's rooted in racism and colorism, the reality is that we're all just speculating because there's no way that you can be for sure how and why I'm attracted to who I'm attracted to. Because if you can say that, then you have to be willing to put on the other shoe when I tell you why you're attracted to what you're attracted to and why you won't date another person of your subgroup. But we won't go there because every time I bring that up, that triggers you. Trigger! If we had a bingo card for it, we gotta make sure that light skin comes up and that green eyes come up because y'all are triggered by those things. And you'll say that it's about colorism and not about preferences. If you feel threatened by lighter skin and lighter eyes, that's a you problem. And that brings me to today's sponsor. Get some help. I don't like to talk about looks because what people forget is that neither of us, unless we chose for elective surgery, nobody looks the way they do by their choosing. So you can get off your high horse if you do fit this criteria, and you can stop feeling so bad for yourself if you look like that criteria because you didn't choose it. Nobody chose it. It's just the cards you were dealt, okay? Get over it. When you tell somebody to choose better, that means that you're automatically judging their choices and who they have chosen. My question to you is, because apparently you've got it all figured out and you've got the best, the most amazing man over there just, that you're sitting in his lap. So how does one land a guy like that? What better choices can they make? Because if I prefer someone that, let's just hold up a mirror and you insert your description. If I prefer that, but that doesn't prefer me back, for whatever reason, maybe it's my voice, maybe it's my height, maybe it's my rigid ways of how there's just certain things that I do like and I don't like. It could be a myriad of things. But how can you 1000% for sure tell me that this is the reason why I like this and I don't like that? The part that really gets me, if you desire love and you're open to getting it outside of your own race, you're likely going to be one of the guys that you're criticizing. The only difference is that you'll have waited way later to find them because you're going to keep putting off, waiting for one in your group. And I don't blame you because I love black men, which is probably why some of you will have assumed and guessed or whatever that my husband is not black. But you'd be wrong. And that part probably pisses you off too. Imagine being with somebody for 16 years and they black and you black and y'all just love y'all black selves. So no, I'm not the enemy here. I'm not this evil guy. I'm just the mirror being reflected at you because I want you to see there's something about you to where you can't see the forest for the trees. Not everything some big, thick, deep pause think piece rooted in racism is not. And I think if we were to be honest with ourselves and bring this back to reality, this is all about being desired. You talk about people who date outside of their race doing it to prioritize proximity to whiteness or predominantly white spaces. But I'm going to use this clip here.
It just doesn't work for me. I can't do it, but I do support it from the numbers component because there's so many that want to be in relationships with a certain type of guy and there's just not an equal amount of that man, right? So if he has to make a certain amount of money, you must open up your pool to non-black men because that's the only way you're gonna have more options of meeting a guy in that caliber.
I'm just going to paraphrase that the higher you climb, the lighter the hue. So let's not act like you, with your accolades, whatever they may be, are the same as these high-profile people that you're mentioning. If they were, you wouldn't feel the way that you do. You wouldn't be triggered that they're dating someone that doesn't look like you when you're not in these rooms that they're in. Before they got there, in the words of Mike Jones, back then, y'all didn't want them. And even now, you don't even want these people. You just are upset because they have somebody that doesn't look like you. And somehow you feel misrepresented when neither one of you represent each other. And then when the videos go on to say, I'm going to challenge you to look past the label of preferences and consider how historical and power imbalances shape who is considered desirable. Again, this is your opinion. This is from your lens. But I find it hard to believe, and I'm not going to say I find it hard to believe, I have yet anyone to prove me wrong of there being a content creator who makes this type of content, who's always talking about the undesirables not being desired. Don't get mad at me for the labeling. That's just the way we're going to put it because, again, but I've yet to see one of those people make these videos in a perfectly happy relationship. Hell, we can take away perfect. We can take away happy. I just fail to find any of them in relationships. So it leads me to believe that this is all personal and it's about you not feeling desired. You hate when you turn on your TV. You hate when you turn on your radio. And you hate that this person comes out or this person's a part of your community and you don't feel seen because they're not checking for you. If your algorithm is always showing you these images, then you're like, oh God, why y'all keep showing me that? Y'all trying to force that lifestyle on me. And it's just funny to me because it sounds like a whole bunch of red hats and y'all don't realize it. But let's look at Miss J from Top Model or Miss Lawrence from Housewives or what's the other one? I think it's like Miss trying to say Miss with these guys' names just does not work with me. Sorry. Derek J, whoever, but these guys, they're not your type either. And what if they're dating white guys? Does it not matter because of how you see them? I'm just trying to understand, why do you hold a microscope to certain guys and not others? Because they could also have a very specific type of black guy, just like you. Just admit it. You don't want nobody that's who. I think the problem, as I say, I don't like talking about people's looks, but put a person on your list and in your thumbnail that's not considered to be conventionally attractive by a majority. And then let's have this conversation. Because y'all don't care who a person is dating unless you find them to be attractive. And then it comes back. See, it's a big circle. If I find you to be attractive, then I can police what you do, who you date, how you talk. But if you're unattractive, nobody care. And you prove this every time you highlight them, every time you make them the subject of your conversation just to say, why won't nobody pick me? Why y'all don't like dark-skinned guys? Why everybody gotta be light-skinned with green eyes? I wish I was light-skinned with green eyes. That's what y'all should be saying, but it's not what you're saying. You're making it an issue when the way y'all present it, y'all would think that everybody in the dating pool, in the community, looks just like Joel Smith. And that's not the reality. You have more people that look like any string of black guys. Who's mama black, who daddy black. But y'all get so hung up on the biracials and the light skins and the mixed and the exotics. I'm gonna go because I know I'm about to piss y'all off. Bye.
Talking spicy. Yeah.
What I like for one of you to tell me is, why won't you date your group? And why is it okay for you to have that preference, but others can't? Why can fats say no fats? Why can those people say no those people? And why is everything a phobia with your group? And you and the others like you won't even date people like yourself. And you say someone else just like yourself, that's my sister. What we gonna do about pocketbooks? That's what y'all say.
What we need to do is redefine celebrity. What we need to do is refocus what we celebrate and who we celebrate. I redefine celebrity by celebrating people who have done some amazing things in my community. Those are my celebrities. It's a situation where the people have to decide to take back their currency. Realize that your attention is currency. That we have to learn to celebrate each other, but the fucked up thing be that as a black trans woman, I'm thinking, hey, we done created some systems because the white people not celebrating us. So we can go over here to the NAACP and here to celebrate. And then they like, none of y'all trannies and faggots though. I can say that, y'all can't. One of the gifts that Pose gave me was this reminder that there's this shared experience. Even though this is a LGBTQ show, I saw my mamas and aunties and cousins and brothers and everybody in there. Don't let white supremacy separate us. Being black and being LGBTQ are not mutually exclusive. So we cannot separate ourselves from those things.